impressions in asphalt, etc. If it was compliant at the time, unless there's a complaint, we do not have to make it compliant again. Not saying that we wouldn't, but the inspection only has to be done once and then upon any new construction.
Well, it's like driving a law and safety out there.
I'm just reading, I'm just stating what the law
That's
is.
a law, I mean, it's a strange law.
Well, we can care more than what
Yeah,
the
we
law
should, we
says.
should,
You
we
know,
should.
and I think we do.
So what is the minimum standard?
Yeah, that was always the one interesting thing when and I've asked that question before when I've worked with consultants. How often do we have to redo it? Their answer is, once you complete the audit, then it's only required by new construction.
And the audit was done
In
2011?
2011, 2012, I believe the transition plan was presented to the board sometime around mid to late 2012.
And what was the reason why they went through with an inspection?
Why we did it?
Didn't they have one before? Or,
No, most districts did not.
Okay.
I mean, it was pretty standard. Most districts did their ADA compliance between 2008 and 2000 and current. Nobody was really enforcing the law for the longest time from the Department of Justice.
Next is the Director of Recreation report.
Hi. Tonight there are a number of staff here that will go over some of our summer programming. The first person I will invite up is Andy to report on the Ottawa Street Pool.
Hello.
Flip the where the light is. And orange where the light is orange. There you go. Okay.
You just put the front portion of the lights. The other outside. The other front.
There you go.
All right. As Cheryl said, I'm Andy, as many of you know. This is my second full season running Ottawa Street Pool. We'll go to the next slide. Obviously, overall, there's three main revenue sources the pool gets. It's going to be swim lessons, it's going to be passes, pool passes, and then it's going to be daily admissions. Our overall revenue for this year was down in comparison to last year, and also so was our expenses. Basically, revenue from our pool passes were down $28,000 to $21,000. Our daily admissions, surprisingly enough, though, was up $5,000 as opposed to last year. And the next slide, few slides, we'll hopefully get some explanation why. The other major revenue source is swim lessons. And this has been kind of a theme the last couple of years since our participation is still dipping in swim lessons. Once again, it did dip dramatically again. Staff is still going to be, reviewing other options to boost revenues, and we'll go through that when we look at possible changes for next year. And we mentioned it last year at the board meeting. A lot of it's competition. A lot of obviously plays a huge factor in this. So those are major components to that. Go to the next slide. And that's the weather component. This year I tracked the weather pretty well as far as what we've done in the past. In the month of May/June, I just tracked the weather based on when our pool operating hours started and ended. May/June, that was a new record as far as rain. If you guys recall, it was pretty darn wet. It was cold in May and June, which tends to be when you're going to get the pool passes sold, is May and June. May and June alone, we had 4 full days. Pool was shut down. 7 of the evenings were shut down due to weather conditions alone. Overall, OSP was closed a total of 2 more full days, 14 evenings, or 2 day shifts, I'm sorry, 14 evenings and 6 full days overall, which is a lot of days due to weather. There was 2 days where we had a couple of kids get sick in the pool and had to shock it and shut it down for a period of time. But like I said, May/June was the wettest month since 1902. Talking to some colleagues that are in the field, they had a tough May and June also in the water bar/pool industry. But knowing that it warmed up and less rain came in July and August, I think that's where we really got a lot of drop in sales, for daily admissions and so forth. So I think that could be part of the reason why we got all those things. Changes we made in 2015, we lessened our swim lessons on the weekend, so we opened an hour earlier, which could have helped with daily admissions too. We reviewed our swim lessons. We had maybe 10% of our semi-private swim lessons go last year, so we just eliminated them, offered them as a group or private lessons. We had a pass module system with a photo ID. That helps prevent anyone from passing on their pass to someone else. Better tracking for us. I think our staff would often do the tally marks to see who would come to the pool. Now we have a better tracking system, and I think that'll help us come up with better decisions how we're going to handle the pool industry here. This year we provided open sessions. I know Cheryl was a catalyst in that, and it worked out well. I think we started in June, mid-June. I think not all the numbers are in, but the revenue that the park district will receive will be about $1,000 just on that kind of service that we're offering to our customers. We added some wind screens around the heater and the pool area, the mechanical area, just so it's more pleasing in that area. So we added some wind screens there. We finished building renovations and painting. We improved the landscaping in the pool area. We placed new signage throughout the pool. One of the things that was made is the Parks Department. Joe, Jimmy, Gennaro, I think Ed was there a lot. They did a fabulous job working on the pool. And if you've seen it 2-3 years ago and compare it to today, it looks a lot better. Today they did a great job at renovating the pool and making it look more appealing to the customers. Like I said, I've worked with Adam on the pool for about 4 or 5 years total, and usually Adam would get calls about how the pool looked or the aesthetics looked. I didn't get one call about how the aesthetics of the pool looked, so that was nice not to have any of those phone calls. Some possible changes we're going to make for 2016. Once again, we're going to evaluate swim lessons, possibly eliminate more classes. We're definitely looking at the early morning classes. It's just cold at 8:30, 8:45 in the morning, especially when the temperature's already cold. So we might eliminate some of those things. Maybe we end up a little bit earlier so we can have swimming start earlier. We're going to look at those. Maybe we can put some aqua aerobics in there. Look at those possibilities. Or scuba classes, those types of things. We're going to try and see if we can generate, aqua aerobics is a pretty popular program, so we're going to look at that option for next year. We're definitely going to paint our street pool at the bottom. We do that about every 5 years. It's been about 5 years, and it needs that need. Well, as always, we're always looking at possible changes that are needed to maintain the safety compliances. One of the things that we did about 6-7 years ago was that Virginia Graham Baker filter, which was a law. We're going to make sure that's in good shape and ready to go, but that could be an additional expense. But other things that I've done some research on, looking at places that we can look at other revenue sources would be if we do a 10-punch pass system, or if we do a mid-season pool pass, or just a weekend pass, just to look at those possible options for the future, whether it's next year or future years from that. But those are some of the things that we want to try and look at, because I think from July and August we had pretty decent weather. May and June it was tough to get the pool open. So that's all I had. Any questions?
Have we ever thought about keeping the pool open on weekends later? Because it seemed like this September it was like so warm, it was like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, the biggest challenge in that, and that's something we can look at, the biggest challenge in that is staffing. A lot of them are the college kids, but we do have some staff at our high school. Staffing is usually the toughest challenge. They have them work, we need probably about 6 to 8 staff, and 12 to 8 on Saturday and Sunday. That's the only toughest part, but that's something we can look at.
I agree with Commissioner Poling with the school season starting earlier and earlier every year. To close the pool when school starts seems kind of silly at this point, to close it in mid-August. Labor Day weekend, there were a couple of neighborhood pools around town that were just packed.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate, we lose almost a month of possible pool open time by following the school schedule. I'm sure there's plenty of people that would still want to use the pool in the evenings and on the weekends, and even some adults or parents with preschoolers that would use it during the day, if we could keep it open once school opens.
It's something we could definitely look at. I think in May, it tends to be colder, but I know our usage in May, and like I said, we're based weather and how it is,
Right.
but attendance is usually low just because school's going on. A lot of parents are getting back to that. That's something we can definitely look at doing for next year.
Maybe offer swimming programs geared for seniors during the day once school starts, and, just some ideas I'm throwing out
Yeah.
for what they're worth, I don't know, but,
Yeah.
I personally attended, I know that Carlo, we had discussed this, that it was actually, the pool time was extended by like 6 days this year, right, over the normal time that.
Yeah.
And I attended 3 times during that period, and one was on, I believe, the first day of school that night, or at Thursday, or something like that. And then on the Saturday and Sunday, which were the last 2 days, and Saturday and Sunday was packed, and the kids had a really great time. You guys had games set up, there was popcorn, the line for the, the dive it was just really going, a really great environment, and it was nice weather. So I think we should, definitely that one weekend made a difference, and it'd be interesting to see if there were any, revenue that would have otherwise not, helped with our, source of income for the pool. If that would actually be, if it would be more costly to stay open, or if it would actually benefit us, because you have your fixed costs.
Yeah.
And if that would, kind of help out with that.
Yeah, we could definitely look at, and if we do that next year, as I think so we decide to do that, we can look at the cost and compare it to the revenue that was brought in.
Or you can set your hours, like I said, as you mentioned, later in the evening and so forth, if it's possible. In regards to having adult lap swimming,
We do try to do lap swimming from noon, and, working families, that's tough. In the evenings, usually at 8:30 we close, but once again, it's like the early morning, sometimes that can get tough, but we can definitely look at that
hours
option.
a little later for the people that are stuck in traffic.
Should work, yeah.
You said the revenues are down because of the competition. How do you compare our?
Well, and maybe I should say, definitely weather has a big basis on that, and that's shown, I think, pool passes alone and the swim lessons alone. There's a lot of pools in the area. Each community has a pool, and that's what I'm basing that off of. I don't have the actual data for that. That is just my assumption there.
Your assumption, okay.
Yeah.
How do you compare our fees versus the, like the spring?
Spring bank.
Yeah.
I don't have the spring bank fees and what they are. We do $4 for residents during the day, $3 in the evenings. We are a, when I came here, one of the things we offered at a lesser rate is, my understanding was because it's an older
different
pool,
type.
it doesn't offer the slides and all the amenities that some of the other pools do that charge $8 or $9. And I think we kept it at a real low rate, hopefully to attract more people.
How's the,
But that's something we can look at, changing the fees.
yeah, how's the fees on the swimming lessons, our swimming lessons fees versus the YMCA?
Versus a Y, I kind of checked that, I can get that information to you.
The other competitor we will have next year is the Goldfish Swim Academy will be opening up off of Van Dyke, I believe. So there will be another year-round swim lesson indoor competitor coming in, so that we will be evaluating that comparison to them as well.
And Springbank was open to the public, I think it was $500 a season. And as their subdivision develops, they are gonna become a private facility serving that specific subdivision. So I don't know if they're closed out to the public yet or not.
They're still open.
Was they? So we're very reasonable compared to them, but they're a water park versus a pool. So there's a big difference there too in amenities.
I really like that idea of the short-term passes. I can see that somebody's on vacation for a week, but they're not going away. What a great way to, spend your time and not have to be paying daily or, get the whole summer
Trying
pass.
to come up
I like
with
that.
something, especially when we had a bad June, and say, all right, now that the summer's actually here.
Yeah,
you
now
know,
you wanna
we can
swim.
do it that way and
Summer is-
back on and so forth. Any other questions?
Thank you. Next is day camp.
Yep. Anne? I'll let you introduce yourself.
I just want to introduce myself to all of you. My name is Ann. I'm the recreation supervisor at Oversell Day Camp for the last 2 summers. Camp this year ran from Monday, June 1st to Friday, August 6th. And then revenue for 2014 to 2015, we're about the same in revenue. Our expenses went down just because we utilized 8 staff compared to 10 staff in 2014. Some of our survey results that we gathered, our brochure is one of our biggest audiences of reaching our residents about our programs. And one of the questions that I like to ask is, would you recommend this, our summer camp to other people? And 95% of them said yes. Numbers of, summer of 2015, our participation had increased. We still struggle with our leadership camp, which is freshman through sophomore year in high school, and staff is reevaluating the increase, trying to get that participation up for that age group. We also increased our youth day camp numbers by 27 participants. Our camp increased this year by 18 participants, and about 20 participants utilized the one-on-one aid with our LCSRA. We also do have a before and after camp that you can sign up for either the before session, after session, or both. And 2/3 of our campers that attended do attend both before and after. We increased our before and after care in 2015. Before camp participation was 11 more campers than last year, 22 more campers in the after care, and 15 campers overall were in both before and after. As you can see, we had quite a few campers return from last year's camp. And campers usually attend about 6 to 7 weeks throughout the summer. The first week of camp, the week of the 4th, and the last week of camp are usually our lower enrollment weeks just due to campers on vacation. And changes that we made this summer, years past, they always went to OSP for 2 days of swimming, and this year we utilized the pool a little bit more and went to 3 days of swimming this year, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday afternoons. And some of the new field trips that I tried this year with the youth day camp, they went to Pirates Cove and Rainbow Falls, and both were in Alto Park District. And then the middle school camp went to Overland Ice Cream Tour, Aurora, Lincoln Marsh Adventure Program in Newton, and Otter Cove Aquatic Park in St. Charles.
It's good to see that enrollment is up. Right. It's a good formula.
All right, my name is Misty Bartlett. I am the program manager. I'm a manager.
Something.
I'm for general programming. And I was also responsible for Games on the Go for the first time this summer, so it was kind of new to me this summer. I wasn't in charge of it before, so Games on the Go is a free program that we use out in the parks for ages first grade through 5th grade. We've been doing this program for a little over 15 years. Cheryl was actually the first one that started it, so we've kind of continued it. It is very popular. We've had a lot of kids in attendance this summer. And you want to go to the next one? Games on the Go basically is we go to the park, we use 6 different parks this summer. Last summer we used 8. We go to the different parks, we play games. We have a schedule of what games we're playing, which we can throw in some crafts here and there. The popular ones are the tie-dye and the water weeks. The kids love the tie-dye weeks and the water weeks. We added scavenger hunts this year, something we just thought, well, let's try it and see. The kids love that too, so that's something we'll keep in for next year. Okay, we go. Comparisons as far as numbers for the parks. You'll see that we had 450 kids that attended the program last year. That our expenses were about $8,000. We used a coordinator, 2 staff. We did pay mileage to those staff that went to those parks. This year we changed, when we were looking at it, we needed to change some things because expenses were getting a little high. So we went to 2 staff. I acted as a coordinator, so we eliminated that position. We utilized the park district vehicle, so that got rid of paying mileage to the staff that was going to each of the parks. And we went from 4 days a week to 3 days a week at 6 parks. So those are the numbers.
What are the numbers in bold?
The numbers, the bold are the high numbers, like those are 2014, those are the top 4 parks, and 2015 are the top 3 parks. So you can see Caton Ridge West is one of the top ones, and Cambridge Run is the other one. So we did a survey at the end of the program, and these are just some of the comments that came back from some of the parents, so I thought I would share it with you. Next. We, every year, they evaluate. I know past the supervisors that had before I did, we always evaluate the parks. We look at the numbers, we look at, locations of parks. So we'll, again, do that for next year. See which parks, see if we're going to try some new parks. Our numbers were low at Van Horn. Even though I love that park, it's not really a park that drew a lot of people. So we'll look at maybe changing that for next year. We always incorporate new games, and really? So we'll come up with some new craft activities, so the kids aren't doing the same crafts every year. Slime is one that they do like to, and so we try to keep some of those things that kids like to get messy, they like to go out and play the games. So, we'll plan some new fun stuff for next year. Oh, the other thing I was in charge of this year was the Movies in the Park. Movies in the Park and Family Recess. That's a joint venture between the village and the park district, and it's been going on for about 10 years. We have, in the past, we used to have 8 movies we used to do, now we're down to 4. So we do 2 movies in June, 2 in July, and then we have makeup if it rains. Obviously, June, like Andy, we didn't have any movies in June because it rained every time a movie was scheduled. So we rescheduled that, we had a makeup day. We provide the movie screen, the DVD player, and the staff and the projector for the family recess and the movies. The village will provide the sound system, obviously the location because it's held at Settlers Park, and they cover the cost of the movies, which range from $300 to $415 a piece. Now, the village also takes care of getting sponsorships to pay for those movies. So that's taken care of by them. We just basically provide some things that they don't have. The last 2 years, the police department, fire department, the library, and Kona Ice have joined us for this event, and that has been well received. But the kids, go to the fire truck, get fire hats, they get Kona Ice, the library, they get free stuff from the library. So that's been a plus for the kids there. So the family recess part of that is kind of, we play games with the kids for an hour before the movie starts. So it kind of gets them, while they're waiting for the movie to start, we get staff that engages them in game kickball until it's time to start the movie. So that's what family recess is for that. Those are the movies that we had this year. Attendance was really low compared to last year. Last year, one of the movies we had over 1,000 people. It was the very first movie. It was Monsters University. Yeah. So we had, and that was the biggest attendance we've ever had with that movie last year. But those are the attendance numbers for this year. So you have any questions for those two? Because Cheryl's going to talk about the rest.
Do you think the attendance was so down that it was the choice of the movie, or the weather, or the...
It could be, because Ann and I actually worked with the 2 movies, the July 10th, 24th, and 31st. The weather, the bugs were really bad on July 10th. So that, that could be a thing. Elf, we kind of did, kind of Christmas in July thing. We kind of threw out, let's try it and see. Let me see, the numbers weren't that good. So maybe, Christmas in July is not the way to go for next year. So we'll look at, I usually meet with Amy in November and we plan, Amy works at the village, and we pick movies. You know, we go through what do we think the kids will like, what's popular, what could be something we can show again. Now, the movie, The Night at the Museum, because we didn't get to show that, we will show that for next year. So they allow us to keep it for 1 year, and then, so that'll probably be the very first movie that we show next year. So they do allow us, so we don't have to pay for that, or they don't have to pay for that again, so. But yeah, we do, you know, we try to look to see what's popular, you know, for movies that, you know, things that are coming up now that might be released on DVD.
Is there any chance that we could move this around, like we move around the other program?
I think with the movie screens, weather is an issue with our movie screen. If there's a lot of wind, we definitely need somewhere that can be put in a pavilion that, you know, can be tied down. And not the thing we couldn't travel it around. That's something I have to ask the village if they're willing, since we use their sound system, because they have this huge sound system. So
It's built in at Sellers Park.
yeah,
Very
so
nice.
that's kind of why it's always been there, because it's just kind of
Easier.
Yeah, yeah, yes, it is, so. But I
Well,
mean, it's something to think about too.
And the amphitheater location there, the way the park is set up is perfect for movies in the
Yeah.
park.
So
I
let's
like
see
your
what
idea in regards to, you know, having these movement. You ever consider about, you know, justifying the cost to get the equipment that we need to solely run it, you know, for different parts by having sponsorships? You know, looking at, you know, different companies that want to advertise their name, you know, that they're sponsoring this night.
Yeah,
No,
and that's what Amy does with the village. She'll, you know, say, hey, we're showing this movie, you wanna be the sponsor for that night, you can come out and bring all your stuff.
I'm saying this, if Amy can do it in the village, you know, I'm sure we should be looking
We
at
do
that.
ask for, our communications and marketing department was requested to supply sponsorships or looking for solicit sponsorships in regards to the recess. In the past, we have secured sponsorships to help ourselves offset some of those costs. This year, there were no sponsorships secured. And that's a different department. They run the recreation aspect, but we had talked about that. And we are looking at that. That is a goal and objective for next year for that department.
Another thing might be to work with Joliet in the area, in some of the parks in Joliet.
And that's what we can look at as well.
Yeah, I got itchy fingers, but all right, trying to keep pace.
I'm just gonna kind of bring up the rear, talk about a few of the other events that we had throughout the summer that were special events that were integral to the whole staff. The whole staff took part in them. We held our 8th annual patriotic picnic this summer over at the high school. We consider this a large community event of which we are the coordinator. We work with all the different entities that are listed there and have probably 2 to 3 planning meetings prior, and then our follow-up meeting for evaluation. And we really, we could not do this without the entire community and hold the event in the way that it is right now. Just because of the fire trucks and everything else. The fire department brings in the police vehicles, the SWAT vehicles, and to keep it a free event for our community. As we look at it, we do incur the majority of the expenses for the patriotic picnic as well as being the coordinating and host event. We did go out, the marketing and communications group was responsible for soliciting sponsorships this year, and they were able to secure $5,000 in sponsorships, and we have $250 that comes in from the Plainfield Central High School boosters. They are the ones that provide the concessions on site through our agreement with the school district, that they come on, the boosters who already have all the licensing and everything for the school district property are the ones who come on site to provide the concessions that day. As you can see, the expenses for the event are considerable, the largest expense being the fireworks, coming in at $17,000. However, it is the only community fireworks display, so it has been something in the past that the board has said they wanted us to continue with. Other than that, we bring in some inflatables, and the DJ services would be the next highest in that, and the DJ services provide the music and the ambiance for the event in its entirety. So as you can look at it, the event cost the district approximately $18,500 to host our annual patriotic picnic. Go ahead, Andy. A couple of other things that we are involved in are the National Night Out and Dare. We were invited by the Plainfield Police Department this year for the first year to support the National Night Out event and the Dare Night. National Night Out is hosted at the Village Green Park. The picture that's shown is actually one we did an unveiling of our Park System Jenga and had a great time out there. I was out there with Jen and Joe, so we take in all the full-time staff, get involved in some of the different community outreach that's going on. The other event that they asked us to participate in